We don't like the New York Mets on this show, but the Nationals should absolutely follow suit with exactly what the New York Mets did when it came to structuring their front office because they hit a home run.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. I am your Nationals insider here on the Locked On Nationals podcast, where it is your team every single day. And yes, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Later on in today's program, we'll have a discussion surrounding Brad Lord. Some people are not happy with the way that he went 100-plus pitches the other day in a kind of meaningless September game. Well, I'm here to tell you, the Nationals were actually right. We'll have that discussion later on in the show today. But in the second segment, I'm not happy with the Washington Nationals. And yes, it's not just about the 2025 season. It is about the month of September and what this month should be about. I think they've lost kind of their goals of really what September is about for a meaningful season and a meaningless season rather. So stay tuned for that discussion later on in the show today. But we start off discussing why I want the Washington Nationals to follow exactly what the New York Mets did when it came to structuring their front office. But today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. The Washington Nationals are getting ready to hire their next GM, but we'll actually get into a new report of what could be happening in just a few minutes. But the Washington Nationals have to follow suit with what the New York Mets did, and here's why. The New York Mets, back a few years ago, they hired David Stearns, the very well thought of president of baseball operations with the Milwaukee Brewers. David Stearns was kind of the king of Milwaukee, bringing in guys like Christian Yelich, developing talent, leaning heavy into analytics, and also thriving in a small market like Milwaukee. The New York Mets, they plucked him away. They gave him all the money to run the baseball operations side of things with the New York Mets, and they have been wildly successful. As you will see this weekend, hear this out for a second. You will see, well, not all three of them. Actually, we just saw another one yesterday, but you will see three different starting pitchers that they have just called up being in the top of their rotation this season. You saw Jonah Tong yesterday, who absolutely dominated against the San Diego Padres. You're going to see Brandon Sproat tonight against the Washington Nationals, another talent who just got called up a few weeks ago. And then you're also on Saturday, you're going to see Nolan McLean, another guy who was just called up. These are all guys that they have drafted and developed and have worked them into being a top caliber arm. In my opinion, this is because of David Stearns and the way that they have run their front office. David Stearns is one of the best draft and develop executives in all of baseball at this point. If you look at the Mets farm system compared to today, from what it was just a handful of years ago, it is a night and day difference. You are seeing guys who are no longer just those top 10 picks that they had seemingly every single season. These are guys that are drafted in the 4th round, the 5th round, the 9th round. All guys are coming in here and helping this New York Mets team get to the finish line and hopefully finish strong for their case. This is because of what David Stearns has done. Long story short here, guys, front offices mean a lot in today's game. Having that smart, brilliant executive that just kind of paves a new way for your franchise moving forward means a lot to an organization. The Nationals have to get this situation right. You have to go into these next few weeks thinking that we have to make a drastic change, and you can make that drastic change by hiring that next David Stearns, by getting that next Scott Harris, who's the president of the Detroit Tigers, by getting that next Mike Rizzo, if you want to throw it out there like that. The Nationals simply have to hit a home run in a big way here. And it starts with getting someone who is that analytical forward thinker. The Mets have tied analytics into all of their development staff. You have seen them produce much better prospects throughout the years. You have seen guys who are left dead in the major leagues all of a sudden come out of nowhere and be a very good player and pitch in a very big role for this team. They have invested in pitching labs. They've invested in hitting labs. They have invested in things that, quite frankly, every major league team should be doing out there. The Nationals have to follow that suit. And as much as it pains me to say this, the New York Mets are setting themselves up for a future that is just so good. And yes, they have Steve Cohen, who's going to spend all the money in the world. We know the Nationals will never have a payroll like the New York Mets as long as Steve Cohen is the owner. We understand that. But you do not have to hide behind the fact that you had bad ownership. You do not have to sit there and say, well, hey, the Lerner family is a bad ownership group at this point. They're not invested. They're not there. Like, it's a mess at this point. It might be a mess. The Tampa Bay Rays are also a mess. The teams like in past, the Angels have been a mess, and they've been pretty good at times. Like, you do not have to sit there and hide behind a bad ownership group. You can still succeed with bad ownership. Does it make it a lot tougher? Absolutely it does. But also, I'm getting kind of sick and tired of that excuse. And while it is a good one, while the Lerner family, again, as of right now, they are operating as if this is an ownership group that has one foot out the door. I understand that. But also, you have to get this GM hire right. And even if you have the best of the best ownership, if you don't have someone running your baseball operations side that is competent and that is someone that you can really rely on with this team, then forget about it. Nothing will be changed. Nothing will flip Victor Robles from being a bad player into a good player. You will not see CJ Abrams get rid of these second half slumps that have been happening the past 2 seasons. In my opinion, the Nationals baseball operations staff at this point has been as big of an issue as the ownership has been. And maybe that's a little exaggerated. Possibly you could say that. But also this Nats team, they have not drafted nor developed well in years. It has been forever since they have drafted and developed. A team like the New York Mets, who are similar to the Washington Nationals, they did not draft and develop well. Ever since David Stearns, you now have 3 frontline starting pitchers entering a wild card race here for the final week of the season that they just called up just like that. And they have made a huge impact on the rotation. You'll see 2 of those guys this weekend for the New York Mets. So while the Nationals and the New York Mets, they don't like each other. We understand that. Maybe it's more so the Nationals don't like the Mets, or maybe the Mets don't like the Nationals more. Who knows at this point? They have Juan Soto. That's our guy. But the Nationals have to follow what the New York Mets did. The way that they went about hiring a GM, or hiring a president of baseball operations, hiring that smart, analytical-minded guy from a smaller market to then bring him to the Big Apple and spend all this money in the world. The Nationals have to follow suit with that. They have to go in. You have to go hire that analytical genius and get yourself your David Stearns. And also, look at the Tigers. They hired Scott Harris as the president of baseball operations there. And then they hired Jeff Greenberg as a GM in November of 2023. Ever since then, they have made postseason run after postseason run, and they're doing the thing again. The Washington Nationals have to follow teams like that, and that is their only shot for them being in contention moving forward, in my humbled opinion. But also, I did say this. The reason why we're talking about David Stearns and the president role here is that Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic reported yesterday that the Nationals are considering that structure like of a president and then a GM under them. Mike Rizzo, he was the president / general manager. He held both those titles. In some cases, you probably could have made the case for him to have that role. He was a great executive at one point. He had a ton of success here. So it does kind of make sense why he held that role. But also, strategically speaking, you should probably have a president and then a GM. You should probably have someone with two different backgrounds, someone who comes in here and completely changes things, might butt heads in meetings, but still, that's kind of what you want from a baseball operations side of things. The Nationals have to have something similar to that, in my humbled opinion. So going forward with the Nationals, hopefully over the next week or two, we find out who's going to be the next GM here in town. Hopefully it's going to be a president of baseball operations first, and then followed by a general manager that will make all the sexy decisions that you want to see as Washington Nationals fans. So that'll be something to track over these next few weeks here, as the Nationals are expected to finalize their GM hire moving forward. And it's going to be an exciting one because a lot of big names are in the mix for that. So stay tuned. We'll have you covered right here on Locked On Nationals. But next, I'm actually not happy with the Nationals. Shocker. I'm not happy with the Nats. I'll tell you why about this after this. First, let me tell you guys about my friends over at Zippix. And this episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings in the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. And how did you like using Zippix? Well, I loved using Zippix. It was the taste, the energy that it gave me. Then I've used the caffeine toothpicks before big meetings, and it gave me that big energy boost that I needed. So go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. Again, that is zippixtoothpicks.com. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. If you have not done so already, look us up, Locked On Nationals, over on YouTube. Hit that subscriber button, or even wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, and of course, wherever you get your podcast. Again, just look up Locked On Nationals. But I am I'm disappointed with the Washington Nationals. And the reason why that is, what happened to them calling up guys in September? What happened to the Nationals having their roster expanded and giving guys opportunities? I spent so much time in August saying, well, September is going to come. We're going to see this prospect. We're going to see that prospect. I'm going to send that prospect down and bring this prospect up. None of it has happened. Why have we not seen Yohandy Morales at this point? Why haven't the Washington Nationals given Yohandy Morales an opportunity? My counter defense to this would probably be that Josh Bell has just played so well in the second half. And really, their goal is to win. It just is. It sucks to say, because quite frankly, the Nationals are out of it from this season. This season has been a pretty epic failure by this organization. You have fired Davey Martinez. You fired your longtime president, Mike Rizzo. And things are about to change. But why haven't we given someone who might be a real answer to this team moving forward a chance up in the major leagues? And it's not like he was not doing well in AAA. Yohandy Morales was coming off his hottest month in AAA yet in August. He was batting north of 300. He was hitting the ball for a lot of powers, a lot of high exit velos there as well. Why didn't they give him a shot? And maybe over the next few days, maybe something happens. Maybe the Nationals do decide to call up Yohandy Morales. But I'm kind of puzzled by that decision. And it's not even just Yohandy Morales. Where's my Christian Franklin? Christian Franklin has been in AAA all season long. You make a trade at the deadline with the Chicago Cubs. You get back a very toolsy outfielder with Christian Franklin, who has crushed the ball, by the way, in AAA. He seems more than ready to make the jump to the major leagues. Where is that decision? Andrew Pinckney, coming out of the University of Alabama in the 2023 draft, has killed the baseball in the second half in AAA, has been by far and away the Nationals' best hitting prospect in the second half of 2025. Where is his opportunity? The Nationals have not given guys the opportunities that they quite frankly need. And as far as the outfield goes, I kind of understand that a little bit more. Because you have Dylan Cruz, who's coming back from injury. Yeah, you're going to want to give him opportunities. James Wood is your future alongside Dylan Cruz as well. You're going to want to give him opportunities. Dalen Lyle has been a star for the Nationals in the second half. You're not going to be taking any opportunities away from him. So I kind of understand that argument. But then we go down to Yohandy Morales again. Josh Bell has no future with this team. Maybe you do re-sign him this offseason. He certainly loves being here in DC. He hits well. It feels like home to him, I think. So I could see the Nationals really kind of going in and re-signing Josh Bell. Would not surprise me at all at this point. But why have the Nationals not given Yohandy Morales a shot? Why have you decided not to give this guy an opportunity up in the majors? The reason why that opportunity means a lot to me is because this guy might be the answer to your first base dilemma over the years. You have not had a solid first baseman since Ryan Zimmerman retired after 2021. And even then, Zim, legend here in town, was not really the answer at first base either. You have to go back to the days of like Adam LaRoche. Back in like the mid-2010s, the Nationals had a long-term answer over at first base. You have to figure out that position at this point. Yo-Yo might be that answer. But I'm sitting here today wondering, do they believe in him? You have the rosters expand to 26. What are we doing? Why aren't the Nationals going in this September saying, we're going to give this guy an opportunity, then we're going to give that guy an opportunity? These are things that they have done in years past. You have seen Victor Robles being called up probably prematurely in 2017 and in 2018. They gave him a shot. Where is Yohandy Morales in a lost season? He has been hitting the ball well. What has gone wrong there? So yeah, I'm a little upset with the Nationals. We could get into all the sorts of things that we could be upset about with this Nationals team. But right now, I find myself most frustrated with the fact that we have not seen our top guys make their debuts. I want to see what Yohandy Morales can do, and I want to see if that power is legit up in the major leagues, because right now you are lacking a right-handed power bat. I want to see if Christian Franklin and Andrew Pinckney, both similar profiles of players, very athletic, very good defensively, high upside offensively, what can they do as well? Maybe the Nationals just have a plan moving forward. Because quite frankly, as far as the outfield goes, this is a crowded room. You've got a lot of different guys in the minors. You've got guys up in the majors like Robert Hassel, who's not getting opportunities consistently now. Maybe they're looking to trade off some of their outfield pieces moving forward, and they want to keep their stock high down to the minor leagues. That could simply be a reason for them. But quite frankly, why not give them an opportunity in the majors? What if you catch lightning in a bottle and maybe you're like, you know what? We're going to hold on to Christian Franklin and or Andrew Pinckney. We're going to trade Robert Hassel, or maybe you're going to keep Robert Hassel and trade both those guys. You've got some options here. But the Nationals simply have not exhausted every option this September. And that part to me, with not giving younger guys opportunities, that is frustrating for a team that is projected to lose 97 games. What are we doing? Someone's going to get on the horn. Someone's going to call up Yohandy Morales and do it today. Why not? Who says no? Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So I just had a problem, but you guys had a problem. you guys had a problem, or not you particularly, but some of you out there, maybe the person behind you, had a problem with Brad Lord pitching 100 plus pitches the other day in a meaningless September game. Quite frankly, I'm not here for that. I think the Nationals did well. I'll tell you about that after this. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. And you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in. With football back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real plot prizes all in less than 60 seconds. And I've been using PrizePicks lately, and it's such a fun way to stay locked in for the season. It's quick, easy, and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football. And I had Josh Allen more than 270 passing yards yesterday, and I also had James Cook more than 80 yards rushing. It was a fun night to be with PrizePicks. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Now let's tell you about our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs a caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable that they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. And I always reach for my favorite flavor, that lime flavor. It's so bold, it's so rich, it's so good, but it's also 0 sugar, and it gives me that energy to carry me throughout the rest of the day before a golf trip, or maybe even before going to a Nationals game. You take that 5 Hour Energy shot and you feel good the rest of the way. So enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or visit Amazon today. And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So I just got some stuff off my chest, what I've been upset about with the Washington Nationals, but you have been upset about something for the Washington Nationals. And I saw people saying, why is Brad Lord pitching 100 plus pitches, the most pitches that he has seen all season, in the month of September, in quite frankly, a meaningless game against the Atlanta Braves? Well, I actually think that I was not that disturbed by it. He threw 102 pitches the other day, just 2 days ago, against the Atlanta Braves. He looked really good. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, struck out 4 batters, only walked 1. That's simply why. In some cases, you should put the training wheels back on some of your young pitchers. You should be cautious with guys like Jake Irvin. You should certainly be cautious with guys like Gore and Cavalli, who with Gore obviously just came off the IL. He only went 90 pitches a day ago. That makes sense to me. But when it comes to Brad Lord, who has a track record of health, and quite frankly has been one of your better pitchers all season long at this point, I don't have an issue with him going 100 plus pitches in the month of September. Again, he has been healthy, but also with that in mind, he hasn't made all the starts. He has only made 17 starts this season. The opportunities that he has had to go 80 plus pitches, he's only done that on, I believe, 9 occasions so far this season to go 80 plus pitches. That's not bad at all. And for someone who is coming off the minor leagues, who, again, didn't really pitch all too much, like, yeah, going 100 plus pitches is a lot for any young pitcher. But at some point in time, you're going to have to let this guy go loose. And in a game of which it's a doubleheader number 1, you're going to want to save your bullpen. You had an off day yesterday, which we all understand. But still, I had no problem with the Nationals going for it with Brad Lord there. See what he can do against a solid Braves team, going up against very good competition with Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson and all the different guys that Atlanta has at this point. They're not the same Atlanta team as the past few seasons, but they're still a good offensive team, and Brad Lord stepped up to the plate and hit a home run. I liked what the Nationals did there. Again, it goes back to this. They gave the young guy an opportunity. They gave him an opportunity to go into the game. They gave him an opportunity to sit down a lot of Atlanta Braves hitters, and he did just that. So honestly, that's kind of what September is about for me. It is a case-by-case basis. Again, Mackenzie Gore and Cade Cavalli and Jake Irvin don't have those guys go 100-plus pitches. We were talking about fatigue. We're talking about guys who have had injuries over the years. You don't want to see those guys. You don't really want to push them in the month of September when your team is quite frankly out of it and you're already booking your October vacations. But in Brad Lord's case, no problem for me. I have no issue with that. I think it was a good move. And again, he came out healthy, and the Nationals, they looked really good against the Atlanta Braves, and Brad Lord kept them in the game, and he saved the bullpen from yet another fireman situation. So I don't have an issue with that. Let me know what you think about Brad Lord going 100-plus pitches, and let me know if you think there's any issues there. But thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen. This is the second to final weekend of Nationals baseball. It's a sad one, but that means October baseball is coming up shortly. So next week, we'll kind of ramp down on the National season and ramp up on the Nationals offseason, which will be the biggest offseason probably since 2019, maybe even longer than that. So until then, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.